I may have stated this on the channel before, but I don't particularly like spiders, which is odd because I like all the different spider Pokemon. In real life, I really don't care for spiders. But the reason I'm bringing this up is because this video is going to be about Arukenimon and Mummymon. And I'm recording this after I record the Malamyotismon video, but it might get posted beforehand because we meet them before we meet Malamyotismon. So Arukenimon and Mummymon are two artificially created Digimon that were created by Yukio Oikawa via him being manipulated by Malamyotismon. So yeah, a bunch of these videos can all be tied together pretty easily. But what ends up happening is also they go along the lines of not being what they appear to be. Mummymon and Arukenimon both have like their human forms, and then they both have their Digimon forms. Arukenimon's forms are, you know, her kind of humanish form with a red hat and a red dress and long white hair, and her, you know, spider form or Digimon form is, you know, much more spider-esque. I don't particularly find her all that scary, but if I remember correctly, I think they're both supposed to be ultimate level Digimon, so they're both quite strong. I do not know if you're able to get a hold of Arukenimon and Mummymon in the games as like a Digimon that you can have in the games. I don't know. I might have to look into that, but that's not something that I'm familiar with at the moment. But so the story that we get with them is Arukenimon, after Ken is no longer the Digimon Emperor, she actually kind of just shows up in his room one night and is like on his computer, and Ken wakes up and he's like, who the frick are you, and why are you in my room, and why are you on my computer, and all of this stuff. And she just like mentioned something from like an email that he got so long ago that is kind of one of the things that triggered him eventually turning into the Digimon Emperor. And so he realizes that she has a connection to that. And she then vanishes. And then the next day, the Digi-Destined in the digital world, Davis and Cody and Yoli and TK and Kari, this is during the time frame when they're trying to work on trying to rebuild the digital world after all the damage that Ken did to it as the Digimon Emperor. And they end up getting attacked by this Digimon called Thundermon. He's a control-spired Digimon, but I'll be going over him and the other control-spired Digimon a little bit more in their own video. But we find out that Arukenimon has the ability to turn the control spires into Digimon. She can pluck one of her hairs out of her head, and then she uses what is referred to as Spirit Needle, pushes it into the control spire glows, and then it will change into whichever Digimon she wanted it to turn into. She turns it into multiple different control spires at various points in time into different Digimon. They'll be getting their own video that'll be up after this one. And what ends up happening is she uses the control spire Digimon to go and try to attack the Digi-Destined. Eventually they figure out that, oh, she turns the control spires into Digimon, so we can just destroy them. And when she gets a little bit fed up with that, she decides to, okay, I am going to try to corner them into a domain where I can have a fair amount of control over the outcome. So she then sends the Digi-Destined and sends them an invitation that invites them to come to this house. Well, before that, what she actually did was she sent them Ken's base that he had as a Digimon Emperor was going to be blowing up soon, and she goes there and she creates Oikawa, giant bug Digimon, out of control spires, and she tries to use that as a way to prevent the Digi-Destined from being able to stop the base from exploding. She tried to distract Ken by trying to, prevent him from getting called by like Izzy or whatever to have him go and help with what was going on. This is before Ken was much more fully part of the team. She tries to distract Ken, and then he still ends up going to the digital world, of course. And this is, of course, during the time frame when Ken and Davis are able to connect, and when they are able to DNA Digivolve into Pyeldramon. XVmon and Stingmon Digivolve into Pyeldramon. But then one of the other things is Arukenimon had simply, she would have been fine if the base blew up. She would have been fine. She would more prefer if the base blew up, because that would have caused a lot of disruption in the digital world. But, she doesn't like watching Oikawa get destroyed. So then after that is when she gets a little bit fed up with the Digidestin, and she's like, okay. So she invites them to the Giga House, which is this huge house that make the Digidestin look like the size of insects. And they go inside, and Davis, Cody, and Ken go inside first, and they're trying to find their way through, and then the entire house is infested with all of these different bug type Digimon. There's I don't remember how many different bug type Digimon. There's lots of different bug type Digimon, and they keep causing more and more problems for Cody and Ken and TK, or Cody and Ken and Davis. And then Yoli and Cody and Kari end up getting chased into the house by a whole bunch of other bug Digimon. None of them are Control Spire Digimon. They're all real Digimon. They're not Control Spire. So it's not like they can just start destroying them willy-nilly. And they, Cody and Ken and Davis end up confronting Arukenimon, and then she pulls up this flute and she starts playing the flute. And Stingmon and Digimon, who are both bug Digimon, then fall under the control of the flute. And they start attacking Davis and Cody and Ken. And, Xvmon is trying to defend them. And we get this whole moment where, as long as she keeps playing the flute, she can control all of the bug type Digimon that are in a certain range of the flutes, that can hear the flute. So, Cody and Ken and Davis end up getting caught, and they almost get eaten, or I guess killed, eaten, / whatever, by a spider Digimon named Dokuamon. And they're able to kind of escape that via having to work together. And then this is when Yoli kind of, shows off her editing skills and is able to edit, the sound around, the flute to mess with it, and is able to kind of, defeat Arukenimon with that way by, messing with the flute and freeing all of the bug Digimon, including Stingmon and Digimon, just in time. And then she basically jumps from this hole in the ceiling to the floor, which, in a regular sized house, jumping from the ceiling to the floor is not advised, but it is doable, and, as long as you, land carefully, you'll be fine. But in the case of this, she jumps, it's like the equivalent of, this is like maybe a 8-foot high ceiling, normal high ceiling in here, scale that up to whatever the distance would be to turn me into the size of an insect, and then jumping from the ceiling onto the floor and landing and not being hurt at all. And they're just like, she can't be a human if she made a jump like that. And then this is when she changes into her Digimon form, her spider form. And then she starts, causing problems for them. She uses, she has spider's thread, which is where she sends out, thread from the jewels on her hands, and a couple of other attacks that she can do. And Davis and Ken DNA digivolve into Paildramon, and they're working on trying to stop her. And the Digidestin all come up with they're all in this giant house, and she's basically a bug running around in a giant house. And they start leading her around, and one of the things they do is they I love what they do this just to torture her. They throw pepper and salt at her at one point, and then they spray her with bug spray, and then they electrocute her, and she's just and it's just kind of funny to watch her get tortured after what she's put them through. And they're getting ready to, they stop her, and she's kind of kind of passed out. Well, she's not passed out, but she's very, very weak. They have her trapped. I think they literally trap her inside of a wastebasket that's upside down. So she can't get out. And Ken is saying, okay, I will take her, and I will find a prison that I can put her in and such, because he's still trying to, take responsibility for, what he did as the Digimon Emperor. and like I'll find a way to put her under like lock and key and guard for like the 24/7 and everything, and let her be my responsibility. And then this is when Mummymon shows up, who is kind of, admittedly, he's dressed rather dapperly, and like it kind of looks like a footman's outfit, I guess. But he shows up, and then he changes into his Digimon form, which is, he looks like a mummy with a like a machine ray gun type thing, and he's able to, one of his abilities is he's able to use his his wrappings to wrap up the Digimon, and then it can like de-digivolve them. So he's able to fight off them, and then he's able to free Arukenimon, and then they're able to flee. Then we still have it that like she's kind of like first of all, another thing about Arukenimon, apparently she likes to take baths / showers, which is not a problem. Cleanliness is next to godliness in a lot of cases. But she has a bathtub / shower on the edge of this like cliff that's just like there, and I'm just like, I mean, it's the digital world, but that's a bit much. And so she's like there, and it's like she's just like contemplating, like, okay, this didn't work, this didn't work, this one didn't work either, and neither did that. This one failed, and that one failed, in like regards to like all of her plans so far for the Digidestined to try to destroy them and defeat them and cause trouble in the digital world. And Mummymon is head over heels in love with Arukenimon. He adores her. He adores the ground that she walks on. He has perfectly fine if she would hit him and kick him and everything. He would have no problem with still being in love with her. Rather abusive relationship. I kind of put it up like a switch of like the Joker and Harley Quinn, because like Harley Quinn is the one that's like obsessed with like the Joker and being in love with him and everything, and the Joker, in a fair number of variations of the Joker, is much more, sometimes he's affectionate to her, sometimes he's not. It depends on which variation of the Joker and Harley you're going for. But Arukenimon and Mummymon are a little bit like, Arukenimon is the one that has like so annoyed anytime Mummymon tries to hit on her or anything like that. But what ends up happening is, and apparently Mummymon is also quite good at giving massages, because at one point he's like giving Arukenimon a massage while she's like ranting, and and then like they drive off and everything. He's also kind of like the chauffeur for her, and like they have like a Jeep that they drive around the digital world, which is just kind of fun. And she comes up with the idea of, okay, I'm going to use 100 control spires in order to make a Digimon, and this of course where we get Blackboard Greymon. Blackboard Greymon is, she creates Blackboard Greymon. This kind of is also a good demonstration of her power and her skill to a degree, because she is able to, control, release 100 hairs and infect 100 control spires and then merge them together. She used 10 spires to make Okuamon, and he was quite powerful, so she like ups the ante by, let's just multiply it by 10 and make it 100 control spires and see what we get. And she makes, Blackboard Greymon. And Blackboard Greymon, after he, causes problems for the Digidestined and everything, she's like, okay, now you listen to us. And he's just like, nope, and like leaves. And she's just like, like faints, because she's so like, oh my god, he won't listen to us. This is not good. And then her and Mummymon then kind of follow Blackboard Greymon. They try to stop him a few times. They make like a whole bunch of Mammothmon to try to stop him, but he destroys them so easily. And then they're just like, okay, well, we can't get, Blackboard Greymon's not going to work for us, so what else can we do? At one point they they see that Kari and Yoli and Ken have been like sucked into like the Dark Ocean Void area, and like they send a Digimon after them called Blossomon, and Blossomon gets destroyed by Sylphimon, and then they create this Digimon called Nightmon, because they're going to go after what are called the Destiny Stones. And they're like, well, what do the Destiny Stones do? I don't know, but it would be fun to try to destroy them. It like messes up something of the digital world. Okay, we'll do that. So they start trying to destroy the Destiny Stones, and Blackboard Greymon comes along, and he decides that he's just going to destroy the Destiny Stones because of reasons. And Arukenimon and Mummymon are like there in the background throughout the whole time when he keeps destroying the different Destiny Stones and the Digi-Destins are trying to stop him. And what ends up happening is, by the time they get to the last Destiny Stone, Arukenimon and Mummymon end up at like this like little China or like little Japan area in like the digital world, and they interact with a Digitamamon, and in the English dub it's the same Digitamamon that the Digidestin have interacted with before. In the Japanese dub it's not, it's a different one. But they interact with him and they eat there, and then they try to find this like soup hot spring type thing, and then they have to deal with the final Destiny Stone, and then a Zulongmon shows up, and like they get like kicked to the curb, and then we have it that then they're in the real world, and Oikawa sent them. He used Arukenimon and Mummymon to make all of these control spires appear in the real world and make all of these different digital gates open all over the real world and send a bunch of Digimon into the real world. And he then has, Arukenimon and Mummymon watch as the Digidestin have to, globe hop all over the place. They also, during the time frame the Digidestin are gone out of Japan, they gather up all of these kids that would become the Dark-Spore children, and they make friends with them, and they lure them in with promises of oh, we can make you better, we can make you smarter and stronger and everything. And then they work for Oikawa. And what ends up happening is, of course, they try to deal with Black Greymon when he comes back into the real world at some point, and they don't have a lot of luck with that. And then they're just basically designed to be like Oikawa's like bodyguards and servants, and he treats them as servants. And then of course when it is revealed that when they go into the dream world and everything, that Oikawa has been controlled by Myotismon this entire time. And Myotismon tries to get the two of them to obey him, and they do but they kind of fail. So he just ends up, killing Arukenimon with her own fear. And then he kills Mummymon when Mummymon tries to, avenge Arukenimon. Yeah, so it's just, I feel kind of sorry for them, because at the very least, Arukenimon and Mummymon, I don't know. I wouldn't necessarily say sorry, I guess wouldn't be the right word for them, but I don't know what to say. Arukenimon and Mummymon, I find them as interesting. They're a little bit more complicated, of course, than we get to see in the beginning. We see them develop a little bit more throughout the course of time, but they're also just basically there to just be like servants for Oikawa / Myotismon to send into the digital world and cause problems for the Digidestined. And that's basically where that ends. Oikawa, they both get destroyed by Myotismon, and I would assume that they probably don't get reborn, or maybe they do, I don't know. If they did get reborn, I don't know, maybe they would have a change of heart, or maybe there's something later on that they have to deal with, I don't know. But as far as we're aware, we don't ever see them again. Arukenimon's human form at least has some okay fashion sense. The dress isn't bad. That's what we have for Arukenimon and Mummymon. Not really too much else to go on about them. As I said, I think they're both ultimate level Digimon. They're quite strong. It takes quite a bit for the Digidestin to actually be able to hurt them. But they are able to do so. So, I thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you have a nice rest of your day. Bye! Enjoy your little victory while you can. Eat, drink, and be merry, little Digidestin, for soon you'll be crushed.